I love The Sopranos, for many reasons. The storylines, the symbolism, the nudity, the characters, the acting, and the nudity again. But another reason I love The Sopranos is the examination of the human condition. One aspect of the human condition is our ability to look at things through rose-tinted goggles. Remember things being better than they were. Kind of like how Real Madrid fans seem to remember them beating Liverpool 3-1 in the Champions League final. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, I have no memory of that. From what I remember, we beat them 1-0, so. Anyway, when Wall Street columnist Sue Schellenbarger did a TV interview, she talked about how memories are not like a video. She talked about how memories are influenced by what others remember about an event. Our memories are seldom entirely accurate. A reason that humans could do this is because the truth is too painful, and that people would rather create their own version of reality to make them feel better, and this is something that Tony Soprano does. He's a mobster who beats people up, does people in, and cons people. So imagine if you do that for a living, you probably don't feel great about yourself, and you have to find some way of rationalising it. The episode in Camelot focuses on Tony's tendency to do this, rationalising his actions by saying everyone in his mobster culture does it, even his own father does it, so it's not that bad. And he looks back at his father through these rose-tinted goggles. Tony views his father as some kind of hero, some kind of role model, and his mother, he sort of has a bit of contempt for, really, because she was often in a bad mood. She was, you could say, emotionally neglectful, and she kind of tried to have him done in, which, that's quite annoying, isn't it? You could do without that. However, this vision of how he views his parents, this version of reality, is questioned in the episode in Camelot, when Tony learns some new information about his father and his mother, and has to confront these memories that he viewed through those rose-tinted goggles, and has to decide if he wants to stay in Camelot. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you don't want to know what happens in this episode, you might want to skip the video. But still like, share and subscribe the video, just view this part of the video. View it twice, view it 3 times, just keep viewing the video, loads of times, as many times as you want. Anyway, now what is Camelot? Well, it's a way that porn stars supplement their income. However, it's also a castle and a court. Associated with King Arthur, it's believed to be the centre of his kingdom, a symbol of peace, justice and happiness. It is kind of like Anfield. However, no one really knows the location of Camelot. Loads of people debate its location, and they debate whether it actually really existed at all. Camelot was also the nickname of John F. Kennedy's administration, and John F. Kennedy is often referred to as an idyllic president, in a way that no one really has ever been since. Now, people may have built up these idealistic images so they have something to believe in, someone to believe in. Like Tony needs to believe in his lifestyle, he needs to believe in his father, because if he was to cast doubt on this, he would cast doubt on his morality, and he might not be able to believe in himself anymore. Now, at the beginning of this episode, Tony makes up with his sister, and then learns that his dog is brown bread, and he's upset. Because, he thought the dog was living on a farm, and his sister goes, no, the dog's brown bread. Anyway, then a relative dies, and at the funeral service, Tony says to his Uncle Junior he's going to pay respects to his old man. He doesn't mention his old ma, even though they're buried next to each other. He doesn't say I'm going to, pay respect to my old parents. No, he just says his old man. A clear indication of how he views his father and how he views his mother. When he visits the grave, he sees a woman there called Fran, who, used to have it away with his old man. And she says, oh, how's it going? My name's Fran. I used to have it away with your old man. And Tony's like, oh, yeah, well, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Yeah, I think I've heard about you, yeah. She tells Tony how she misses his father, and they both have a joke at his mother's expense. And, they're getting on well. Tony expresses to his therapist, Dr. Melfi, how Fran gave his father what his mother couldn't: support, love, a smile when you walk in the door, and probably anal. He didn't say that, but I can imagine, that's what he means. When Dr. Melfi asks Tony if he thinks that justifies his father's infidelity, Tony blames his mother for his father cheating, saying she drove him to it. He complains about his mother never visiting his father, unlike Fran. Tony then visits Fran and learns that his father gave his dog away to Fran's son. But at this point he's still blaming his mother for giving away the dog. And Fran also said she had to put the dog to sleep when they moved, which, means that they done him in, At the race course, Fran asked Tony about his wife, who's been his wife for decades now, and Tony can't think of much to say. However, Tony has plenty of nice things to say about his mistress, who he's only known for a relative short period of time. Now, Tony gets closer to Fran. He admires her, and she seems to be cool. She provides Tony with the niceties in the conversation that his mother couldn't seem to. However, Hesh tells Tony something wasn't quite right about her. Then, when Fran and Tony are at her place, Fran insults Tony's mother, and this time it seems to rub Tony the wrong way. And you see Tony starting to question his memories a bit more. The foundations of his Camelot are starting to look shaky. He then learns Fran didn't pay her phone bill with the money that he gave her. She instead bought some shoes. And then when Tony tries to share his family problems with her, she doesn't seem to take an interest. And Tony also finds out that after his father had been diagnosed with emphysema, Fran kept smoking around him, whereas his mother actually quit. Also, Fran encouraged Tony to drink and drive, which is not on. Don't do it. You see Tony really start to question the narrative of his mother being the bad guy and his father being the hero. Tony then tells the story of when he was 16 and his mother was having a miscarriage, while his father was with Fran, getting his end away. Tony tried reaching his old man, tried giving him a bell, and when Tony told his old man about his mother having a miscarriage, phoned him up, says, the old ma's having a miscarriage, the old man decided not to go to the hospital straight away, and decided to wait till the next day, and then asked Tony to lie to his mother about where he'd been. It's at this point where Tony realises why his mother might have been who she was. It might not have been his mother that drove his father to act the way he acted, but his father who drove his mother to act the way she acted. And Dr. Melfi asked Tony if there's any blame to be put on his father, and says Tony must forgive his mother. This is the point where Tony has the decision of accepting reality for all of its cruel pain, or does he continue to live with this delusion? Does he continue to believe in these false memories? Does he continue to live in Camelot? And Tony decides to live his delusion, and he continues to blame his mother, continues to see his mother as the bad guy, saying how his mother made his father give his dog away. When Dr. Melfi asks, how could your old ma make such a tough guy as your father give the dog away? Tony says if it was up to his mother, she would have probably killed the dog, whereas Fran was the one who actually killed the dog. In the next scene, Tony is asked about Fran by his friends, who haven't been seen up to this point in the episode, so are new to all these ongoings, and Tony has to decide what the narrative's going to be when he talks about Fran. He has to decide, what he's going to say about her, the ugly truth or the more appealing fantasy. And he decides to go with the fantasy. even adding in some more things that make her seem even cooler, to all of his mates. Now, the theme of building up these false idyllic memories, building your own Camelot, is also reflected in the episode's other storylines. In a scene in the episode, Tony tells Junior about running into Fran, and Junior tells Tony how he could have married her, but he never showed his feelings. She thought he wasn't interested, and she moved on to his father, and he suffered in silence. Then later, we find out that Fran never liked Junior, and that Junior didn't suffer in silence. He was practically a stalker. Furthermore, Junior also tries to sing at Artie's restaurant, like he did in a previous episode where he had the focus of the whole room. However, this time, the waiter doesn't have his guitar, and no one wants to hear him. They're like, pack it in, mate, pack it in. And finally, at the end of the episode, Junior realises he has no kids. And there's so much death around him, and starts to cry. His Camelot is broken. In Chris's storyline, he's continuing to recover from substance addiction. And he says to his friend, who's also recovering from substance addiction, that there's no chemical solution for a spiritual problem. And the episode ends with Tony smoking and drinking, as Tony can justify his actions and keep doing them. I think Tony kind of views his wife in a way like his mother, the more unpleasant reality. When Fran asks Tony about his wife, Tony doesn't have much to say. But Tony has lots to say about his mistress. His wife he's known for decades, but his mistress he's not known for that long, and he talks loads about his mistress. I think Tony kind of views his mistress as the more exciting fantasy. The fantasy that he wants to believe in, the fantasy that probably makes the mob life appealing to Tony. The fantasy that makes him hold Fran up as a kind of role model. And by believing in this fantasy, Tony can continue to justify his actions, and he can keep doing them, and it's another step that leads Tony towards the darkness, that leads him, spoiler alert again by the way, just in case you didn't hear the last one, that leads Tony towards the darkness, that leads Tony towards killing Christopher, and his cousin, also named Tony. And he can justify this to himself. He's okay with it, because he's continuing to live the fantasy. He's continuing to view life through these rose-coloured goggles, these rose-tinted spectacles. So Tony decides to stay in Camelot.
Your mama always said you'd be the chosen one. She said you're 1 in a million, you've got to burn to shine. But you were born under a bed sign with the blue moon in your eye. Woke up this morning, all that love had gone. Your papa never told you about the right and wrong, but you're looking good, baby, I believe you're feeling fine. Born under a bed sign with the blue moon in your eye. Woke up this morning, got a blue moon in your eye. Woke up this morning, got the blue moon in your eye. Woke up this morning, got the blue moon in your eye. Blue moon in your morning. Woke up this morning.